welcome to the Tech Garden. We wanted to just formally say welcome, and to all the teams that have been working here in the last 6 weeks, we invite you to come back and still utilize the space. Anybody who's an entrepreneur or wants to learn more about building a business, please use the Tech Garden as a resource. We welcome you. We always hold programs, events, networking. So please sign up on our mailing list. If you have more interest in the Syracuse community about entrepreneurship, we're happy to have you and help you grow your businesses. We're lucky to have John Liddy here. He helps with a number of programs at the Tech Garden and specifically with Genius New York. So you have a great resource there, and we want to keep providing resources to entrepreneurs that want to help grow their businesses in Central New York. So thanks for being here, and I look forward to seeing you.
What Genius?
And for anyone, yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, John. So Genius New York is a in-residence business accelerator hosted here at the Tech Garden. We focus primarily on any technologies related to unmanned systems, aerial, ground, or marine, with a stronger focus on commercial drone technologies. If you're working within the hardware, software, or data analytics side of the unmanned systems market, if you have an idea or a technology that you would like funded, we're directly investing $3 million into 6 early-stage companies coming for the next year's program. We've already invested in 6 companies that are operating here right now out of the Tech Garden. So if you want to learn more, please visit geniusny.com or reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to guide you through the application process.
Great. Thanks, John. As John mentioned the Genius program, those of you that have been in the sandbox before notice we look a little different. And what has happened is that hallway that used to be there used to be 2 rooms, no space in between. What we've done is we blew out those walls, and then the Genius teams reside on the other side. And that's great because we have the opportunity for sandbox teams, co-working locations, to interact with those teams. We actually had one of those scenarios earlier this year when one of the companies had some concerns or ways trying to figure out how they were going to do mapping in areas that didn't have satellite coverage, and we have some people that do just that across the hall, and so we were able to have those kind of collisions, and that's a real elegant part of the makeup that we have in this community. You also notice today we have a lot of people in black shirts from Ignite U. So I'm not sure, is it Alyssa or Bruce?
Alyssa.
Come on up, Alyssa.
So, I guess I'm just going to do a little intro on Ignite U. We are an independent entrepreneur development program in the capital region. We're located in Troy. We originally started as just a summer accelerator program. I can remember coming here 2 years ago. It was my first day as an intern, and they threw me into it. And I was meeting with John and Nasser, and I was scribbling down every single word they were saying to figure out how we were going to pull it off in like 3 weeks. So it was a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. This is our 3rd year coming here. We really focus on cross-collaboration across the state and getting the entrepreneurs really connected into this upstate community so that they know there's a place for them here and that they know that there's people that want to help. Is that good enough?
The genesis of Ignite U really came from working with John and some of the folks here in Syracuse. And some people know the story. We came out here, John told me, focus on 3 things and 3 things only. Sounds like a movie, right? But it was people, place, and programs. And he said, don't worry about programs because we got you covered on that. Anything you guys need, we can help fill in the gaps. He said, place we really can't help you with, but probably in the capital region like here in Syracuse, you probably can locate a space that's going to be suitable. He said, but the most important thing was find the right people from the beginning that'll help put the program together, be associated with it, and also supporters in the community. He was absolutely right. So 3 years later, we've been able to expand the program. Some of the teams are in here today. Hopefully, if time allows, they'll have a chance to tell you a little bit about what they're doing. And so we'll always be grateful to John and his crew for helping us get started. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bruce. All right. So you mentioned the community, and we have some other folks in the room as well represented. So I wanted to thank, well, first of all, thanks to the Tech Garden for hosting us here in this space. And actually, I find the new methodology of Genius there in the sandbox here really open and inviting, and so the teams like that a lot. We have Syracuse University folks here around the room. Special thanks to Elizabeth Liddy, Dean of the High School, who has done a lot of work on the funding of this. Say hi to Julie and Jimmy for their help. Also, the University of the Launchpad undergrad. So we have Linda and Braden. And then associated with SU, we have Wise. I have Joanne Lindweaver there. Raise your hand there. We have UVC, talking about communities and bringing everyone together. Anything we'd like to say?
I'm just so proud of all of you. I mean, this community has grown so much in the past 2 years that I've been involved in it, and there is no shortage of ideas, but the people that are in this room are the ones that are committed to really succeeding. So the familiar faces that I see come out to event after event and get involved in these accelerator programs are the shining stars of the world, and we're going to hear from even more of them today. So congratulations to all of you.
Great. Thank you, Kate. And Lawrence, New York, Paul Brooks. Say hi, Paul. All right. We have a bunch of just community members, which I'm always stoked about to have people participate. Thank you all for coming. And then we have Start Fast team that UBC helped put together. So thank you for another incubator accelerator participating. So that's great to have this community. So thank you all for coming. What I thought I would do is just give you a brief history and a couple of numbers about the sandbox to give you some context. And then I'm going to have 2 teams come up and pitch that, and I'll tell you how we ended up with 2 teams, and we'll go through that. And then we'll wrap up with opportunity for questions, answers, and then I think we have some Ignite U teams that might come up and want to do a little bit of a speed pitch as well, and we can provide some feedback to them. Everyone good with that? Yeah. Now, when Bruce and Alyssa came up, I talked about demo day, and these are all the things you have to do about demo day, and this is how I got it. Always make sure your laptop is in good shape. Literally 10 minutes before you guys came, my laptop died. There we are. Okay. All right. So, first of all, a couple of numbers. And so this is numbers that I provided for actually the iSchool board meeting. But it gives you a little bit of context of what we've been doing since 2009, and I'll take you through the history. We've had over 300 students. We've had a myriad of mentors. Thank you all for your help with that. We've had over 180 startup teams. We've had over $1.1 million in contest winnings, whether it be in RVD, whether it be in New York State, whether it be in the business plan competitions in various communities, whether it be NYSERDA. So we've done some nice work with that. And $24 million in venture capital that we've had.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
So there's some
That's
big
great.
dollars. I say that and I want to put it away because I'm not actually a big fan of that mark. Why am I not a fan of that mark? So, youshoulddateme.com. So this was actually in 2012. This was a girl, and she was always constantly in the friend zone. And so she couldn't find a date, or she found, and then what her thesis was that friends don't let friends date jerks. And so there would be some social component that if you introduce somebody that would be, I'm not going to let you date someone that I think's a dirtball. Right? And so each of these has its own little story. The reason I had You Should Date Me up there is she actually didn't pursue that business. She got funding in less time than I've been talking to you. She literally walked in, you see this in the movie, she walked in, she talked with an investor, and in 5 minutes had a $25,000 check.
Wow.
Because of the thesis, because he believed so much in it. That's kind of like, holy cow. And then she went to Carnegie Mellon, got a master's degree, and now is out in Silicon Valley. So, but that kind of alludes to the point of, does money make what we're doing? Or does the experience and the capability to move forward? That's what we're doing here. And each of these has a little bit of a story. Some of them are really great money makers, but some of them, we're educating entrepreneurs so that they have a thought process and a methodology and how to move forward. It's not just, hey, I'm going to make money. Great, money's great. Don't get me wrong. All right? But each of these has a little bit of a story. So we had Graphiters and Brand Yourself in 2009. That's when we started. In this room, when it was just this one room, it was a call center. We had 60 cubicles. Imagine that. We kind of moved some around, made some forts, and we had 5 teams. And in that first year, we had 5 teams. 2 of them came out that did some nice things. Graphiters, they won demo day. They had no product, but they had an awesome demo. Right? So what it is, it's like they could do a video, and it was about a game. They didn't build a game.
That's great.
They drew the whole summer, and it came out, but they won demo day. So the mission here, or the story here is that demos are great, but you got to have a little something under the hood, right? They actually got some funding, and then they found out, what they were? They were really good video makers and created a video company. So if you think about entrepreneurs, you start with your value proposition. Your value proposition are the people, are your skill sets. And that's what they learn. So they one is continuing with the video company, the other one's working at Google. Brand Yourself, I don't know if you folks have heard of that company. It started here in the Tech Garden in 2009. Now has 100 employees with office in Pennsylvania and Manhattan. They've raised several $1 million in outside capital. They're doing great. Went on Shark Tank, turned $2 million down on Shark Tank. So what they've done is a great thing. Fast forward, so what happened? At the end of the first year, we're like, is this going to work? We're not sure. And we said, yeah, all right, it is. And so the chancellor came down to talk to the teams. And said, hey, how's it going? Oh, it's going great. Talk to the Brand Yourself guys. How's school going? We quit school. Whoa, time out. That's, like, hey, I'm a university-fed thing, and you're quitting school. This doesn't work out. And so what they decided to do is that the university said, you know what? All the work and hard efforts that you students are putting in are worth credit. And so we said, yeah, they are worth credit. We had some feeder programs. We had a class up at the university called What's the Big Idea, and one called Idea to Startup. But the sandbox wasn't for credit. Recognizing the amount of work that level of effort that you put in, they said, yeah, we should. And so we did get credit for that. We got it accredited. So now, students that come through this process not only can create businesses, they can get credit for it. Helps the university because they get butts and seats for the tuition. Helps parents when you're saying, hey, I'm going to school and I'm creating a job. So students have a pathway forward that's not just starting a business after quit. They can also get an education and get a degree. And so that was kind of represented in this first year. Skill addiction, first company that came in, he said, hey, how many customers do you have? You know, that's a pretty frequent question for people starting up. 100,000 users. Wow. So that was our first, like, wow, we already got someone that's rolling. So what we did is we helped them grow. Then I want to talk really briefly about this company called Cape Squared. Cape Squared was an opportunity. Anyone ever heard of Bitly bundles? And so it's an annotation methodology for Twitter. And so what they did is they were going to move this ball forward. And they had a kind of a crappy application. But I knew the entrepreneur. And so when they were getting in and we had this committee, and I'm like, they're like, no, they're not ready. I'm like, yeah, yes, they are ready. And so just, fast forward, the people that were in this company now have north of $10 million in funding because it was the people, to Bruce's point. Their product wasn't right. Their application wasn't even right. But the skill set that those individuals had was right. Helios, we have something called RVD funding, Ray Von Dran. And so he was the ex-dean of the I school, and in his name, he passed away. We have some funding every year, and so it's having that funding, that little bit of stipend funding helps students go through the summer so they don't have to go out and get a summer job, right? And so in 2011, Lewis pitched for Ray Von Dran funding. He lost, didn't get funded. So what happens when you don't get funded? Give up? No. He was entrepreneurial. He was pissed. Right? And so he said, you know what? I'm going to go to the state competition. So he went to the New York State business plan competition, won it. On spite, but it shows the drive of entrepreneurs, right? And he's pivoted several times since then. We talked about You Should Date Me. Regatable and Tricky, two companies. Tricky was a skateboarding app. You took pictures or videos of the company, and then you show it to your friends, and you do different tricks, and you'd win the location. Why I put that up there is because they're one of the 4 companies that we've had that have gone through that got acquired. And so what he did is he got acqui-hired, which means they wanted them as the users and as the tech help. So they're out in Santa Barbara. Regatable. Regatable, for those of you who were here, had a 16-foot catamaran that could fold up into 2 suitcases. And so it was a pretty interesting demo day. And so when he was doing that, one of the mentors we hooked him up with a nautical engineering firm. He went to work for the nautical engineering firm, and they currently own the IP for that. And so we have these unintended consequences. We think we're going to start businesses all the time, but we got this kid on a career in an engineering firm. Bike rules. Bike rules, another unintended consequence when we have students that are starting businesses and they want to keep doing it. they stay on for graduate degrees. So Jeremy, he didn't pursue his business, but he's on the PhD program in engineering. We did. So you've heard from the Ignite U people. What had happened when we started this 2009, really more towards 2011, we'd have 34 teams in here. And then other communities say, hey, we should do that. That's something really cool. So people down in Ithaca, people in Cortland, people up in Clarkson, people around over in Rochester, people over in Albany said, we should have a student-based incubator. So when in the 2010, 2011, we had a lot of people from other institutions. At one time, we'd have 12 different schools represented. They started to go back to their own home. So because of our reputation, what we did, and actually in 2015, we had 26 students from Indonesia coming. So we had an international interest level.